Hello friends. So in this video I'll be telling you about recursive functions. So the process of making a function call itself is known as recursion. So if a function is calling itself, that is what we call as recursion. Uh, what happens normally is we make a function and let's say I want to print the factorial of a number. Let's say n factorial. So we know it is n, n minus 1, n minus 2 up to 0 factorial, which is nothing but 1. So we don't write it, we say it 1. So now what is this? So it is also written as, this is what? This is n minus 1 factorial. Got the point or not? So if I want to write 5 factorial, so 5 factorial is what? 5 times 4 factorial. So if factorial is a function, then you are again using that function. So you are calling it again inside this. So what about this? Then 4 factorial is 4 times 3 factorial. Again you are calling it. Then 5, 4, 3 and then 2. Again you are calling it and so on. So if a function is calling itself is what we call as recursion. Okay. Now, with the use of this type of function, that is this particular method or strategy, complex problem can be reduced to simple ones. But there is a problem that this particular way of writing function can be sometimes challenging to comprehend. So that is the reason we normally prefer loops uh, in place of recursive function. So function having loops we normally prefer. And this, though it reduces the so because of using or by using this recursive function, we can make a program more readable or more beautiful. But the thing is, recursion take longer time. So execution time for this particular type of function is somewhat more in comparison to the function which are using simply loops. So whenever there is a task which is very much complex in nature, then we normally don't prefer recursive functions. Okay, so how to write recursive function? So the way in which we write is first the data type. Let's say it is an integer. Okay, and then the name of the function, then the arguments, and then you are calling this name here again. So in this way, if a function is calling itself, so that becomes a recursive function. That is how we make a recursive function. So let us take an example of factorial, which we have taken above. So if we make 5 factorial, then we say it is 5 into 4 factorial. So if we make this type of arrangement, then that is called as recursive function. So how to do that? It's very simple. Now one more thing I would like to tell you that whenever you have to come out of this particular function, that is to converge or stop a recursive function, we have to use this if else conditional statements. Then only we will be able to come out. So if I want to write a recursive function for factorial, then let's say it is fact. Okay, it will be accepting some argument, let's say n. It is returning one integer. Then what? So if the number is not equal to 0, if the number is not 0, then do what? Then simply return this number times again fact, but reduce it by 1. So that's it. And if the number becomes 0, so simply return 1. That's it. So this is the function. So where is function calling itself? So this is the place where function is calling itself. And remember that when the coming out of the program, that means when you want to come out of the program, the condition of coming out should be given either in if or in else, not in both. Okay, so this is what you should remember. So let us write the same program now. So this is int fact, and let's take n, and then uh, if the number is not equal to 0, then do what? Simply return n times again fact n, then minus 1. And else, if it becomes 0, simply return 0. Sorry, return 1. Okay. Now, let's say I am interested in finding out the factorial of 5. Then printf and percentage d, sorry, factorial is equal to percentage d. So what comes here? So factorial of a is equal to, now I'm calling this function fact, and then a. And if I run it, I'll be getting 120. So if this is, let's say 4, then I should get 24, and so on. So that is how you write a recursive function, a function which call itself. So how this has worked? This has worked like first, see, first n is equal to 5. Okay, so it will doing what? 5 into 4 factorial, because it is n minus 1. Then it is again calling itself. Okay, so let me write like this: 5 into fact 5 minus 1. Now, what is fact 5 minus 1? It is 4, because this is n into. So it is 4 into fact 4 minus 1. 5 into 4, then fact 4 minus 1, that is 3. Then fact 3 minus 1. Then 5, 4, 3, and then fact 3 minus 1 is 2. Then fact 2 minus 1, and so on till it becomes 0. So in this way the program works. Okay, so I hope that you now know how to write a recursive function. But remember, writing a recursive function requires a huge amount of practice. And at the same time, I must also recommend that whenever the program which you want to keep inside a function is becoming very, what I should say, is some sort of involved program, then you should never use recursive function. You should always use loops there. So in this video, till this point only, thank you very much.